discovered a pretty shocking statistic. I want to know if Australia is as shocked as I am about it. Australia? Yeah. So, worldwide, according to OECD figures, we consume on average 34 kilos of meat per year. But the shocking stat is what we eat here in Australia. And in Australia, it's a whopping 90 kilograms per person per year. Whoa! After the US, more meat per person than any other nation. So what's all this carnivorous enthusiasm doing to our health, to the animals we eat, and to the planet?
Livestock production would have to be the biggest environmental impact in Australia of any industry.
In this series, I'm going to focus on the three animals we eat the most. Wow, chickens.
Not a wonder, like, a lot of them are so cheap. How are they producing it?
I have trouble killing one chicken, you know.
There's a lot of people that want to eat chicken though, isn't there?
Pigs.
It is so confined, she cannot cope with that environment.
Almost like a morality question, it's a philosophical question.
And cows. This is the moment where you go from the living animal to having meat. I want to connect people to the animals we eat.
I wouldn't want to give birth like this.
You're allowed more than that.
How will they, breathe?
I'll learn how other cultures make the most of the meat we eat. It's like a sausage in search of a home.
It's made for purpose, isn't it?
And I'm going to aim to inspire real change in the fast food industry.
Once we make that move, there's no turning back.
For the love of meat, let's find out more about the animals we eat. The stats don't lie. We Aussies have a remarkable appetite for eating animals. Per person per year, we eat around 7 kilograms of lamb, 20 kilograms of pork, 23 kilograms of beef, and a staggering 42 kilograms of chicken. Last year, we ate an estimated 600 million chickens. That's 10 times more than 50 years ago.
Spicy chicken burrito.
But how much do we know about where our chicken comes from and how it gets onto our plates? Most of us don't grow up learning about how the animals we eat are raised. I've come to a primary school in the northern suburbs of Melbourne to see what the kids do know. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt your lunch. Where are your parents from?
Iraqi.
Iraqi?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm from Syria.
Middle Eastern background? Syria? Wow. The kids here are from all kinds of backgrounds. Ooh, yum. But they seem united by their love of one thing. What's your favourite meat?
Chicken.
Chicken?
Chicken.
Chicken?
Chicken.
Chicken, all round? Really? And what's your favourite bit of the chicken?
Yeah, that thing that goes like that. That's like...
That looks like a big ball on the end of a bone?
Yeah.
The leg?
Yeah, it's really nice.
My favourite is the skin.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Oh, my favourite is the skin. I always think chickens should have twice as much skin. So what do these 10-year-olds know of the process that gets the chicken from the farm, that looks good, to their plate?
I want you to draw a picture of what you think happens to a chicken from when it's at the farm to when it ends up on your plate. Make sure you draw a sequence of pictures of what you think happens.
So in my photo, they start off in the farm, in the pack. they need lots of fresh air and they need sunshine.
In my picture, it eats worms and it gets bigger and bigger, and then people kill it.
Some people come and kill them, and then they kill them, and they kill the chickens, then send it to the supermarket in a truck, and then they sell it, and then people buy it and eat dinner.
How close to reality are these drawings? I want to find out and then come back here to tell the kids firsthand how their chicken is produced. As consumers, we're bombarded by labelling jargon when we buy chicken. Organic, free range, RSPCA approved, and some is just labelled chicken. So what do they all mean? Unlike layer chickens that produce eggs, meat chickens, or broilers, are never kept in cages. 85% of them are kept in huge sheds on intensive farms 24 hours a day, largely out of sight. Hey, g'day, it's Matthew Evans calling. Ideally, I'd like to visit a farm with a camera so that we can show meat production in Australia for people at home. Representing chicken farmers is the industry peak body, the Australian Chicken Meat Federation. I'm approaching them first to help me get into a farm. Yeah, g'day, it's Matthew Evans calling. Just trying to call Vivian from the Australian Chicken Meat Federation again. Another voicemail. Right, left messages everywhere. While trying to get access, I discover there isn't much footage of intensive chicken farms to be found online. But some I've seen makes worrying claims about intensively farmed chickens. The birds go from egg to slaughter in just 35 days. They've been bred to grow so quickly that at times their legs cannot support their own weight. And it's claimed in some farms, constant contact with the damp, ammonia-soaked floor can prevent feathers from growing and cause hock burn, where the ammonia has burned the skin on their legs. If these claims are true, there's clearly a difference between the image of old McDonald's farm and the reality of modern intensive chicken farming. While I can't yet get into an intensive farm, unsurprisingly, I've had much more luck getting access to an organic chicken farm. Only around 1% of the chicken sold in Australia is organic. This is the premium, expensive end of commercial chicken farming, and I'm about to find out why.
So we have a few early birds coming out here.
33,000 fertilised eggs are brought in from a breeder farm every week. Must get quite loud in here when they're
just before they hatch, you can actually hear them cheeping through the shell as well. Day 21, we're looking for them all to be out of the eggs by then.
But even in best practice farms like this, these babies need to be kept in sheds when they're chicks.
They're just behind the curtain.
Wow. Like the whole earth is moving as they run. There seems to be a lot of birds per square metre. In terms of stocking density, is there a number of chickens you can have in a certain space as an organic grower?
Yeah, the organic standard says that you've got 25 kilos per square metre. So
25 kilos.
Yeah.
That's an odd way to measure it.
Yeah, obviously when they're really small, that can allow for a lot more, but then as they get older, you've got to make sure you've got the space for those birds in the shed.
Being organic means that the chickens are also free range.
They're not shed bound at all. They've got 24 hours access to the outdoors. We've got a 2-hectare paddock. It gives that opportunity for the birds to do what they naturally do. They're running around and have a scratch and a pick.
They're also grown and fed without the use of chemical fertilisers and pesticides.
Is this all the stuff that goes into chicken food, or what's...
Yes,
Yep.
yep.
Over there, is it apple cider vinegar or is it garlic puree? It says both.
Yeah, it's got apple cider vinegar with garlic, because being certified organic means we can't use medications, so we look for all sorts of natural ingredients. It's really good on keeping them healthy.
But ensuring the chickens are certified organic comes at a cost. The price of grain.
Because there's not enough out there, we're competing for stock feed grain with flour millers, and that's going into human consumption. When you're feeding your animals on premium bred wheat, obviously the costs are higher.
So why do you do it if it's that much more expensive?
Yeah, well, it's a good question, and I've got 5 kids of my own, and organic is something that I'm passionate about because I want my kids to eat the best. We're talking sustainable, we're talking a safe product, using methods that is more like nature intended, and we've got to realise that good food costs money.
At 8 weeks old, the chickens are taken to the on-farm slaughterhouse. I'm a little nervous. I've killed a few chickens on my farm, but nothing on this scale.
They're just hanging, you see they're all happy.
Hanging chickens upside down puts them in a state of calm. While they're in this state, they pass through a bath of electrified water to stun them.
So straight away to sleep, and then it's all very calm, easy process.
Immediately after this, their throats are slit and they bleed out.
Yeah, it's just nerves as they twitch.
They're mechanically plucked, their heads taken off, they're gutted, washed, and then chilled for 24 hours before processing.
So if we come in here, you can see all of the birds air chilling.
It's almost like an artwork. Nude pink birds filling rack after rack after rack. Whoa. I have trouble killing one chicken, you know. I do.
There's a lot of people that want to eat chicken though, isn't there?
Isn't it? It takes them no time at all.
2 birds a minute.
2 a minute. When I was a kid, you just bought a chicken.
Yes, you didn't buy portions.
You didn't buy portions. This is a whole new side to the industry. Mind-blowing. The whole thing's mind-blowing. My idea of an organic farm, I'm still thinking old McDonald's farm. But the reality is, the way your chicken reaches the plate, highly mechanised, highly efficient, highly scientific process. Even when at its most pristine, it's still a commercial enterprise and has to have efficiencies of scale to make sure it gets to you.
But here's the rub. Organic chicken is around twice the price of conventional chicken. In the local butcher here, it's $30 for a whole bird. Only a few people would be prepared to pay that much for chicken. But maybe that's the true cost of caring about an animal from its whole life until its death. True cost or not, the price of organic chicken means it's just not going to feed the nation.
Oh yeah, g'day Emma, it's Matthew Evans.
I'm still trying to gain access to an intensive chicken farm where 85% of our chicken meat actually comes from.
Just ringing to see how the meeting went yesterday at the board meeting for the Australian Chicken Meat Federation.
But it's not going well.
So after 2 months of talking to the Australian Chicken Meat Federation, they've finally got back to me and the answer's a big fat no.
They've said that their members have declined the opportunity and will not help me get a film crew into one of their intensive member farms.
And all it makes me think is, what have they got to hide?
I'm frustrated that the chicken meat industry is not prepared to trust Aussie consumers with the knowledge of how our chicken is produced. So I've come up with another idea.
They sound pretty happy. They sound good. Yeah. No worries. Cheers. It's a very delicate cargo, this one.
To better understand the process, I'm going to build my own mini intensive chicken farm myself. I've ordered a batch of Ross chickens.
Hello, little ones.
They're a fast-growing breed, typically used on commercial intensive farms.
So presumably these have just hatched from the eggs, haven't they?
They're 1 day old.
In intensive farms, birds don't go outside to see daylight, and they only get around 4 hours a day of total darkness to sleep. It means they're awake and growing most of the time. So that's what I'm going to try to replicate here in my experiment.
I'm going to do that every single time.
And to see how fast a different type of chook would grow in the same conditions, I'm keeping them alongside a different variety that's not been selectively bred to grow so fast.
But they've been bred a little bit more sturdy to be used as a free-range bird.
So there's, what, 50 birds here? 30, 20?
Yeah.
I've roped in my partner Sadie to help look after them.
If you had an intensive farm, you could actually in this space have 70, 73 or so adult birds, so over 70 birds.
I wouldn't even keep 5 birds in this space.
It might not be a perfect match for a commercial farm, but I'll do my best. They need feeding, water, heat lamps to keep them warm until they can grow feathers, and cleaning out every day.
Well done, little chickie.
Sadie will try to photograph them each week against our measuring chart to see how fast they actually grow.
That's it for the night. Check them in the morning, hey?
But what is the impact of this type of farming on the actual birds? Can they understand the type of conditions in which they live?
Hello. Oh, I startled the chickens.
I've come along to the CSIRO Animal Research Lab in Armidale to find
What a
out.
great looking setup.
I'm meeting scientists who've devised some experiments that may make me look at chickens in a whole new light.
And I always think of, chickens as not the smartest animal on my farm. And I guess the expression bird brain comes to mind.
This is very new research, and we initially didn't know what to expect. What we are finding is that they are capable of more than we have always thought they are capable of.
Would you like to have a look at them performing the task?
I'd love to see it, yeah.
We'll need some chickens and some tasty mealworms.
So that's even better than grain.
Oh yeah, they love this stuff.
Dana and Caroline are exploring to what extent chickens are capable of abstract thought.
So this chicken is trained on the right side.
They have pre-trained their chickens to find their treats.
All right, so you just put her in the start box.
This chicken has been trained to turn right to find her worms.
Yeah. You got it?
And then you'll see in here we also have different coloured wallpapers, and so that gives the chickens a visual cue to associate with the particular side. And so it's two things. They're either learning the direction to turn or they're remembering these visual cues.
Straight around the corner.
So she definitely knew where to go.
So this is going to be a left side one.
This chook has been trained to turn left.
Let's see how she goes. Straight around.
That was pretty fast.
To see if they can think outside the box, the chickens then enter the maze from the other end, which means they need to turn in the opposite direction to get the same treat.
So what we are testing is whether the bird has learned where the food reward is based on these visual cues that we have, or whether she is just learning to turn a particular way.
First, we try the chicken trained to go right.
Okay, let's
Good luck, darling.
Will she figure out she has to turn left this time?
Nailed it.
Yep, she did it.
So that's on visual clues as opposed to directional.
Yes.
Now, the chicken trained to go left.
Ooh, she's gone left.
But it just does really emphasize that chickens are individual and they have these different learning strategies.
Decades of research into chicken behaviour has shown that they are capable of things like numeracy, empathy and self-control.
Nailed it. Good.
So, not bird-brained at all.
So they all have individual differences, some more intelligent than others. Others, they have different cues that they use, which you've shown through your research. Would that mean there are better ways to manage chickens commercially?
Yeah, if we use these things to try and better understand the chicken, then we can make housing systems that are better suited to what they want and not just what we think they want.
Yeah, right.
This research has made me even more committed to improving the welfare of chickens. And if I want to have an impact on the lives of as many birds as possible, I need to get through to the big fast food brands. So I'm going to meet some people who are good at something that I'm not. Talking to big brands.
Looking for Paul and Justine.
I've enlisted the help of an advertising agency. I want them to help me convince a big brand to use only better welfare chicken.
I think the biggest change can often come from companies because they have the buying power, they can make persuasion, they can make faster change. What I'm coming to you guys for is to get access to a brand or to have a brand champion this is an issue.
It's a tough thing to get a business to change if consumers aren't asking for that change.
You're talking about people who have eaten meat since day dot, forever. So to change those ingrained behaviours is going to be a massive thing.
But there's an opportunity for a business just to become a hero.
I know how hard it can be. I've tried to ring these companies, but...
This is a major challenge. Can we get in the door of a big brand to make our case? I'm on a mission to get into an intensive chicken farm to understand for myself how our meat chickens are raised. If you've been shopping in a supermarket recently, you may have noticed it sells RSPCA approved chicken.
Come to Coles to talk to a man who's responsible for animal welfare. I know they've got all their fresh chicken is now RSPCA approved, and I want to find out what's actually driven that change.
Rob, is it?
Yep.
I don't think I've been in a supermarket this big in my life.
Yeah, this is the chicken section.
So all Coles chickens are RSPCA approved?
Yeah, since 2013, it's all been RSPCA approved.
And was this done because you thought, well, you thought or you knew that consumers would care about the welfare of the animals?
Consumers tell us that they really care where the food comes from and how it's produced, and that it's ethical.
Yep.
And so, yeah, the RSPCA had a standard that we felt met that need, and that it was a really trusted organisation as far as customers were concerned.
So did you have to convince farmers and suppliers that this was a good thing to do because you wanted it?
We could show them information about how important customers felt it was.
Yeah.
But it was a bit of a leap of faith for a number of them. So it actually took us 18 months to get to that point that all of our chicken was RSPCA approved. Working with about 180 farmers at that time.
A cynic might suggest that you're just doing it as to make money, or is it about animal welfare?
No, it is. It's really about animal welfare.
This seems like a remarkable alliance between Coles, the RSPCA and chicken farmers that benefits millions of Australian chickens. I want to see what this means for myself. After some negotiation, the RSPCA have agreed to take me to one of their approved farms, accompanied by one of their scientists. Hazeldene's was the first poultry producer in Australia to become RSPCA approved.
How long have you been in chickens, John?
My whole life, actually. The whole 61 years of them.
Right.
While RSPCA approved, this is still a large-scale commercial farm. And I can't believe I'm finally inside one.
It's insane, isn't it?
this shed is 161 metres long and houses 47,500 birds.
How many birds do you have in total on your farms?
We're processing about 650 to 60,000 birds a week at the moment, so this is one of our farms.
650,000 birds a week. Right. Are you a big player in the Australian industry?
We're the mid-tier player.
Mid-tier?
A mid-tier player, yeah.
60% of Hazeldene's chickens are now RSPCA approved.
So if this was a conventional shed then, what would the differences be that I would see?
It's about an extra 16% more birds in the shed in conventional.
More birds than this?
Yeah, more birds.
Because on the outside, this looks like a lot of birds.
They're only about 4 weeks old at the moment, so
Right.
28 days. You can see that they're losing their baby feathers, their chick feathers, and the new feathers are coming through, which is why you have a few bald spots here and there.
So what do these RSPCA standards actually mean for the chickens?
Essentially what we're looking for in an RSPCA approved shed is that even distribution of birds around the shed, that they're not huddling because they're cold, that they're not gasping because they're hot. We also look at the cleanliness of the birds. They need to be nice and clean.
What would you see if they weren't clean?
Well, they'd have brown or black patches, particularly on their breasts, where they've been sitting on the litter.
Right.
And so I think, you know, one of the key things in a really well-managed shed is the litter. And we can see here that it's dry, it's not sticking together, and that's really important for bird welfare.
Unlike conventional farms, RSPCA standards also require perches.
Because they grow so quickly, their bones don't always keep up with muscle growth, so they can get leg weakness. If you encourage a bird to jump, then they're using those legs and improving that muscle and improving leg health.
We found that we had less leg problems with perching.
Right.
Yeah.
So why did the RSPCA get involved?
You can see the number of birds that are needed to supply the demand for chicken meat in this country. And if we're not here with the industry trying to improve things on the ground, then nothing's going to happen, is it?
One of my main concerns is that these chickens never go outside. So how do they know when it's night and day?
The key thing is providing those periods of light and of dark as well. So one of the things the standards requires is at least 4 hours continuous darkness each day.
In conventional intensive farms, chickens commonly get only 4 hours of darkness. So they're awake, eating and growing for 20 hours a day.
Do you think this is how most people imagine their chicken is produced?
I think people would look at here and think, you know, it's a lot of chickens, but I really believe in the standards we've got now are very high. I mean, sure, you can raise the bar more, but can the consumer afford to pay that extra? So at the moment, they're buying higher welfare chicken virtually at the same cost as conventional chicken anyway, so it's a good deal for the consumer.
If this was a conventional shed, there could be 10 to 15,000 more birds in the same space. Even this many birds is doing my head in.
When the birds reach between 5 to 7 weeks, they're transported in trucks to the processing plant. It's here that the scale of chicken production in Australia really hits home. It's the numbers that get me. Around 10,500 birds an hour go through here. 16 hours a day, 5 days a week. And it's just a mid-tier player.
We eat a lot of chicken in Australia. Seeing that number of birds, I wonder if we're pushing the animal and pushing the production of meat so hard that we're forgetting that we're dealing with living things. But it does show that the RSPCA system seems to be able to produce a bird that is given certain freedoms can express itself in fundamental ways, not in the most interesting ways a chicken expresses itself, and produce a bird that doesn't cost much more than the conventional bird. And I haven't been allowed into a conventional farm. And I think there's a reason I haven't been allowed into a conventional farm, because I wouldn't like what I'd see, and I don't think Australians would like what they would see.
I believe if consumers had a chance to see how the most intensive chicken is produced, they would choose better welfare chicken. A few weeks ago, I asked an ad agency to help me approach fast food brands with the aim of getting them to use better welfare meat.
You know, in lots of ways, we need to prove to business that there is an appetite for change.
The agency have told me that they have a plan.
You've got something for me?
Come on in.
So I'm keen to hear what they've come up with.
Oh, look at that.
We've been pretty busy since the last meeting, Matthew.
We've looked at, you know, all the iconography that goes around chicken burgers, chicken shops, and there's a whole visual language around that. Yellow and red, often they have a character. So we've created our own Super Chooks Burger Barn, a fake chicken brand. So we've created a free chicken burger stand, and at the chicken burger stand, of course, will be some free chicken burgers. So this is what you might get handed.
Right,
Free chicken burger.
That's the wrapper.
That's the wrapper, Happy Chook.
The Happy Chook.
Because most Australians think that all chickens are happy.
But beneath the wrapping, there's a nasty surprise.
And inside, you've got one of those really grim pictures off the board.
85% of chickens in Australia live in a space no larger than this A4 sheet of paper.
Is that an advertising thing to take an image which is probably a bit one direction to get a response?
So this is probably a little bit on the extreme side of it, but we want something that's potentially a little bit polarising, because that will get people to engage with the idea.
And this is the killer plan. Make a video of people's reactions when they're about to eat the burger and show the video to a big brand.
And say, hey guys, we think there's an appetite for change within your brand.
I find that shocking and horrifying. But will the average person care, or will they just screw that up and throw it away?
Let's see. let's take them, hand out free burgers and see what their reaction is.
They've done it. Looks just like the picture on the packet.
There's free burgers at 1 o'clock.
We've set up our fake chicken shop to hand out free chicken burgers here in Parramatta in Western Sydney.
Whoa, this is amazing. It's incredible.
What will consumers think about what's under the wrapper?
A lot of interest.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Yep. Who's first? There we go.
Yes, please.
That's a burger for you. No worries. Cheers. I just got one of the conditions though of the free burger is you have to open it while I'm still around. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah. And eat it as well?
You can eat it. Yeah, of course. It's for eating.
It smells delicious. Oh, okay, pork chook. Around 85% of chickens we eat live in barns where the space per chicken is no bigger than this wrapper. That's terrible.
Oh. Unsurprisingly, many people are shocked when they first open the wrapper.
Is no bigger than this wrapper. Oh, geez, that's a bit cruel, isn't it?
I know, it makes you think twice, doesn't it?
Well, that's what we're wondering. Does make you think twice?
Yeah, it does.
Really sad. I know, I am aware. I think it's bloody awful.
My conscience level's hitting me right up, full on right now, and that's pretty. And then again, my mates would go hard to fuck up, but...
Still hungry? Not at all.
Not at all. Sorry, was that too confronting?
Sorry. Sorry.
Trying to demonstrate to Australians the space they have per animal has visibly distressed someone.
It's not even enough space for like a rodent or a guinea pig, let alone a chicken.
Another unhappy customer. Another one for the bin.
Is this true?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know how most of their chickens are raised.
It's terrible.
Which is why they don't think twice about the chicken they're eating.
I don't really know that much about what happens to the chicken beforehand. Like, I just know we kill them and then we have chicken.
Yeah.
I had no idea at all. Yeah. No idea.
On a day-to-day, you don't think about these things until it gets put in front of you and you look at it and you're like, wow.
It's quite daunting to me because I don't really eat many vegetables. My whole diet is like chicken and beef and all that kind of jazz. That's horrific.
I think we have enough evidence from the people we met today to show a fast food brand that Australians do care how their chicken is produced. Meanwhile, the reality of my experiment to replicate an intensive chicken farm is hitting home.
Ooh, starting to smell in here.
Cramming so many birds into such a small space is troubling Sadie.
Well, it just smells damp. You wouldn't believe I actually have put down new sawdust.
The chicks are 3 weeks old and growing fast. And it's pretty obvious that the white Ross chickens are growing faster than their brown counterparts, as they've been selectively bred to do.
How bad it is. But I don't like it. I just feel like they're crammed, they can't walk around.
I know, it's not a huge amount of space, but the whole point is to try and replicate an intensive farm. So low lighting, so they don't really wake up. We really probably shouldn't have the door open. Never complete darkness, so they never quite go to sleep. You know, limiting their movement in space so that they don't waste energy on moving, so it all gets put into body size. That's actually the purpose.
I would just feel more comfortable with 10 fewer birds in here.
Sadie and I aren't comfortable with this intensive way of rearing chickens.
I look at these birds, and to me they don't seem to be walking properly.
So we've agreed to get rid of some of the birds.
And so we're going to take at least 10 out of here, take the pressure off the space, give the other ones, I guess, a bit more freedom to move. Maybe they'll start to walk properly. But they're so fat.
It might compromise our experiment, but we're happier for it. We farm our chickens intensively because our appetite for it is insatiable. And our consumption of it is going up and up. It's gone from a luxury enjoyed on special occasions to a fast food snack available all day, every day. 40 years ago, it took 64 days to grow a 2-kilogram chicken. Today, the time taken to grow a chicken has almost halved. There seems to be a lot of birds in a small space, even in an RSPCA approved chicken shed. In conventional farms, there are even more birds. The limit is 40 kilograms per square metre.
So I've come back to the primary school to talk to the kids about what I've learned, and I've actually brought a few friends to show them something too.
Okay, guys. Eyes on Matthew.
Okay. Does anyone know what a square metre is? Yeah, it's 1 metre by 1 metre.
I want to show the children some of the realities of intensive chicken farming.
I happen to have a square metre. And I was going to use this to demonstrate how much room chickens get on average within the shed.
And this is where my chicken friends come in.
How many chickens do you think you might have in that space?
It's better if there's not too much chickens in there because they'll all get cramped up and they don't have enough. They don't have, I think, five or six.
You have to remember there's a lot of chickens.
I reckon you can put 10. Look at it, look at it. It's not that. Okay, stop. Stop it.
So group 1, so these represent a fully grown chicken. So, fantastic. So 7 chickens per metre squared. This space is so they can move around and walk and eat. Yeah, great. Group 2,
So group 2, 12 chickens.
What chickens?
Time to show these kids the space a fully grown chicken really has. 3, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That was what you guys said before. It's actually a little bit more than that. 13, 14. Well, you could have a couple more than that. You could probably have 16.
I think that's too much.
So you can see there's a little bit of space there, but we can fill that up.
But it's too much because they won't be able to move.
18 chickens.
How do they eat?
In the most intensive sheds in Australia, you're allowed more than that.
Oh my God. How are they supposed
19.
How are they supposed to breathe?
20. Any comments or feelings about this?
I think it's just really sad how they have to stay in that really small space.
How will they, breathe? Do they have enough space to sleep?
I certainly seem to have got the kids thinking.
Why don't they get to stay with their parents?
The parents are at a different farm, they take the eggs. But their questions have also got me thinking.
Why can't they wait till they die and then get them and put them at the shops?
Yeah, if they get really old, they're not as good to eat. It's been a fascinating discussion for all of us. It starts to give them things called hockburn. But before I go, I want to do one last thing to connect the kids with the real animal. So there you go. So you got it. I brought them laying birds, not meat birds, so they can look after them for a lot longer. Guess what? The first egg. Fantastic. Pop it down on the ground. There you go.
Whoa.
That's it. Make sure it keeps going. That's it. Beautiful. So they've got everything they need. Those kids are a real delight. They're really engaged and had some fantastic questions. What's more, it does seem that the next generation actually does care where their food comes from. Meanwhile, in Sydney, there's been a breakthrough. I've had some really good news. I've actually managed to get a meeting with a fast food chain who are interested in talking about higher welfare chickens and whether they can possibly put them on their menu.
Right. Let's hope it's the beginning of something good.
Guzman y Gomez have 70 stores around Australia.
You're here to see the GYG guys. Yeah, come on through.
Thank you.
Chicken is by far their biggest seller. They use over 25,000 kilos of it a week. I'm Matthew.
This is Matthew.
Stephen Marks, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Very excited about this meeting.
Let's have a chat.
I've heard the founder is passionate about sourcing ethical produce and potentially changing the face of fast food. Have you actually considered using higher welfare animals on your menu?
It's a significant amount of money, millions and millions of dollars.
I've secured a face-to-face meeting with the founder of Guzman y Gomez, the most rapidly growing fast food chain in the country. Have you actually considered using higher welfare animals on your menu?
Oh, definitely. But it's just not that easy. You know what I mean? There's certain things as you build a business and you have a lot of people that you're responsible for, it's just to make a call like that has, besides the supply chain, I mean, there's a lot of financial complications. It's a lot more expensive. You're going through 25,000 kilos of chicken a week. It's a lot of birds.
That's a lot of birds.
It's a big commercial call.
We are fast food, and part of that is being affordable. You know, if we just start pricing ourselves out of the market, we stop being accessible to the masses, and then, it becomes a different game.
It's just a significant amount of money. For GYG, if we did millions and millions of dollars.
The reality is, you can't ask for change if you don't know there's a problem. We were keen to see for ourselves whether Australians really care. So we went out to Parramatta with Matthew and we found out ourselves. So here's a little video for you.
Who's first? There we go. That's a burger for you.
It smells delicious. Oh,
Oh, okay, poultry. Around 85% of chickens we eat live in barns where the space per chicken is no bigger than this wrapper. That's terrible.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
Would you be willing to eat slightly less chicken and pay more for it?
Yeah.
I would spend more, yes.
Yeah. Would you feel better going to a fast food joint knowing that they used higher welfare chickens?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, give them the business, yeah, for sure.
Would you pay more to know that they were...
I would pay a lot more, you know?
I mean, what's a couple of dollars to another animal's life? All life is valuable.
Yeah. Would you pay more?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because at the moment, you got to wonder, like, a lot of them are so cheap.
Yeah, how are they
Like,
doing that?
how are they producing it? This must be how.
Jeez.
It's good. It's powerful. I mean, I think that what this proves is that the appetite is there. But, you know, it is a bit of a gamble for us to make these choices because, yes, we know consumers want it in the back of their mind, but not every consumer is out there buying free range when they have the choice either.
It's, you know, it's not an easy decision. Like Anna said, it's hard because then everybody would do it.
It's certainly not in our interests to encourage you to change your business model and then go broke.
You got to prove that sustainability is profitable. But the only way you can really prove that is by doing it first.
And this industry needs a leader like you. It needs to be shown it can be done.
It may not be easy, but this guy sounds like he has the passion to make it work.
And there's always a risk, but you know, at the end of the day, if you got nothing to hide and you're transparent and you think you're doing the right thing, then you got to go for it, right? You live once.
As a brand, like, we're not perfect, and it's okay to show that as well and say, but we're committed to being better.
But once we make that move, there's no turning back.
What a fantastic meeting. If I can get a fast food chain to switch over to higher welfare chicken, I'm having an impact on thousands, if not millions, of animals' lives.
Six weeks have passed since I started my experiment to replicate an intensive chicken farm. The commercial white birds have far outgrown their brown counterparts.
I reckon that's a 3 kilo chook. So you can see where there's no feathers on their breast and they're quite pooey under here. I mean, I rake this every day.
Got a few health issues. These birds are very lazy. Some of them got bad hock burn. These birds have got to a really big size in a really quick time, even though our system here isn't perfect. But I don't think that these birds are particularly healthy. I don't feel good about the environment in which they live, and I don't feel happy about having raised these birds on our farm for our table. All right, you ready to go, Sadie?
Yeah.
On a commercial intensive farm, at 5 weeks old, these white chickens would be ready for slaughter. So I'm doing the same on my farm, where I kill the chickens as quickly as possible by cutting off the head. It's not a nice job, but it does connect you to the animal.
It's like it's still alive.
It is, but it's not funny, darling. Today's a good day, not because of the killing, but because the other 20 birds can now free range, which is, I have to say, feels better for my soul. Come on, guys, out you come.
And girls.
And girls.
Now, my homemade chicken farm is 100% free range. Although there is no legally binding definition of free range, you'll find chicken labelled as such in most supermarkets. It's cheaper than organic, but more expensive than RSPCA approved. Fast food chain Guzman y Gomez are visiting a free-range farm to see if this type of chicken is a viable option for their restaurants. I'm keen to see to what extent it does produce a better welfare chicken.
How are you?
Hi.
Stephen Marks.
Sheridan, how are you going? Nice to meet you.
Our guide around the farm is Technical and Welfare Manager Sheridan Alfirovich.
Can I get them in a black and yellow?
And they're locked up at night. And
Yes, so it's about maintaining their safety, giving them somewhere that's warm, secure.
It's dawn, so the first thing we can see is opening up the sheds so the chickens can have their morning run outside.
This is beautiful.
I mean, that's more landscape than my garden.
Exactly.
Like, seriously, you know.
My kids go to public school, they got like this much area to play in. These guys.
And you can see how many of them come out. And I think really that's a testament too to what you provide them.
Lilydale are one of the biggest free-range chicken producers, with over 40 farms across the country. They send over 50,000 chickens to market every day.
We're only at one farm. It looks pretty good. You've got trees and shade and all those things. But is that on, can you guarantee me that's on every free-range farm?
What we do in terms of standards is have at least 5 hay bales per range area so that birds can perch easily.
They love shade, huh?
They do love shade. The shade structure is standard across every farm. We have a standard number of trees on all of our farms.
They must grow a little bit slower.
Access to the outdoors means that they're not inside the shed all the time. They're not always eating.
They're leaner because they're just having more exercise?
Yeah, that's right.
I know that some places it's barely 5 weeks from the egg to the oven.
Yeah, ours are just over 7 weeks.
The sheds are open during the day, so the chickens can come and go as they please. But the feed and water are inside the sheds, which are also closed at night to protect the chickens from predators. So I think it's important for me to see inside the sheds too.
Am I allowed to go over and have a look inside?
Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, company policy means that while I'm allowed inside the shed, we are not allowed to bring the camera inside.
They do have space.
Yeah.
It's not like they're jamming into each other. How calm they are.
That's a chicken that I'd actually be really happy to eat. So I really wish you could have seen in there. The birds are really calm. There's way more space around them than I was expecting, and you know, it's a beautiful system. It doesn't, stink. It's well ventilated, a good temperature. There's lots of space per bird. They're really calm. They're expressing pretty good behaviour, and then they get to go outside.
For me, and obviously as a customer for Lilydale, that's very impressive. So Matthew, what do you think?
I got to say, I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was. That, to me, that is the chicken that I would want to see in every fast food joint in Australia. I would actually come and be happy to eat those.
Our next challenge is to convince the number crunchers at GYG that the improved lives of these birds is worth the cost of a more expensive chicken. So organic and free-range and RSPCA approved chickens do seem to be raised to a pretty good standard in Australia. But I'm really concerned that I haven't been able to visit a conventional intensive chicken farm, and the sheer scale of chicken production in Australia does bother me. I think if most people in Australia knew how their chickens were raised, they'd actually choose better welfare birds. So my feeling is that you should try and choose better welfare chicken like free-range or RSPCA approved. It might cost a little bit more, but maybe, just maybe, you can offset that by eating just a little less chicken. Next week, pork.
So these are the next controversy to be had in the pig industry.
What are the impacts of bringing home so much bacon?
She cannot cope. It is so confined.
And it's crunch time for Guzman y Gomez. Will they change to free range?
This decision will make or break us.